This, I can't even with this. I actually want to ask Anathay if we can do a collab or something because I want to oil paint this so badly. I already have like two things I want to oil paint. One of my friends' characters that she did, and I also want to oil paint this. I just can't even. It's too adorable. Okay. See if any other people might join. Oh, we have some new people today. Hi, Sai. Doing good? Welcome to my class. I think it's my first time I see you here. Hi, Eagle. Well, Eagle, since you're here, I'm going to start with you. So, Eagle. Let me put my things for notes. I know, right? I would love to make it on oil painting. It's so precious. And it's just like right up my alley of my type of homework. I mean, type of artwork. On that note, I feel like I was gonna drop one of my cats from last class. Let me see if I could pull it up. I realized that you guys drop all your animals and I don't show any of mine. And I realized like I should have probably shared one of mine. And I'll post it. I'll just show it here. Since you guys are all showing your animals and your cats from last class, this is one of my cats. This is like an oil painting of one of my cats. Since last week, we were doing the animal portraits. Since we're doing the animal portraits last class, and you guys were doing all the Sphinx cats, thank you, honey. My husband, delivering coffee. Thank you, honey. The last class we were doing the animal portraits, and so many of you picked the Sphinx. And I remember I said on the chat, it's like, oh, I gotta drop off the Sphinx that I did because I love painting Sphinx. Painting Sphinxes. I love their anatomy and how many colors are hidden. On the skin tone. Even that their flesh color, if you eye drop, it's like they are like green and lilac and blues and lilacs. Are so fun to paint, and I just love seeing all their colors. But I'm just being really busy, but soon I'm gonna jump in doing the homework with you guys. So when you guys deliver these, I also want to deliver mine, so I'm there with you guys. So speaking of cats, let me show you one of my little guys here. There you go. This is one of the little this is Pudgy Taquito Mittens, and this is one of the studio helpers, and we're probably going to be drawing him at some point. And he is a munchkin cat with short legs and fluffy, and he's a prince, or at least he thinks he is. And he has a gorgeous cloud tail. I know it's kind of hard to tell. I know. I'm sorry I'm holding you weird, honey. I'm sorry I'm holding him strange so you guys can see him. I'm sorry. I'll put you down, okay? Say bye-bye. I feel bad. I hold him back so he can be being seen in the camera. And we have another one, which is Pantalaimon. And he's the little King Kalu, round ears, Siamese one. He's a little baby. He is the prince. He is, and he knows it. Yes, it is recording, Dustin. So, since Heagle's here, I'm going to start with you, Heagle. He's king, not a prince. He is a king. You should see on his birthdays when he gets a little cake and everything that I'm making with a little crown and everything is ridiculous. So, all right. 8:08. Okay, that's pretty good time. Let's get started. All right. So, Yes, one of the depressions reminds me of the fantasy creature of the lesser. Oh, I can totally see that, Sai. I can see that. All right, Higo. I have to tell you, first off, that I purposely left your homework from last week in here to compare it because I think, if I remember correctly, I think I gave you the advice or like the little extra tip or homework to fill in those endless lines of pages, of doing lines and pages, to loosen up your hand for your line work. I think I did. Because I don't know if you did it or not, or what you've been doing. Because I have to say that I already can. Have you done it at all? Because I can see that already improvement. Yeah, we'll look at that. So I can tell already, and that's why I am keeping. And that's why I put your homework here from last week. And I can tell that your hand. I apologize, you guys. I am really sleepy, and that's why I got coffee with this time hour change. So I'm dragging a little bit. I'm sorry if I'm a little slow speaking today. I'll get there. I can already tell like your line work is already much smoother. I already can tell like those exercises are helping. And I agree with you. I am very happy with that goose and the volume. Like I already can see like how chunky he's like. He's like a, like he's like chunky, and like I like the volume that he has, and I can already tell that let me get that from your line work, what we talked about last week of doing this, I already can tell how you are starting to loosen up. And again, the more, look at that. Like again, the more that you keep doing that, soon, you're going to start getting into the gesture drawings. When you start getting gesture drawing, those movements and all of that. So that's looking really good. I don't have the other chat open. Would you mind reminding me, telling me what is it that you said about that you had a little bit of a struggle with the feathers? Was that you or was that Mossy Rock? I don't remember. It's one of you two. I don't remember seeing the chat. Somebody had an issue with that. That was Mossy Rock. Okay. I remember somebody that had the geese. Okay. So I will say that I couldn't get the dog face right and I had to walk away from the word to frustration. Hegel, have you ever heard about the ugly stage? That we all artists struggle, what we call what we struggle with the ugly stage? Yeah, you have heard of them? Yeah. So like I feel you. Even when I'm doing oil paintings, sometimes we're doing the beginning of the painting and it's just so ugly and so frustrating. And we just gotta be like, just gotta push through it. It's so ugly and so frustrating. We're just like, gotta get pushed through the ugly stage. But yeah, that frustration, it's hard. So let's see. I keep trying to get this right here. Sorry. I keep trying to collect this. There we go. I got it. So yeah, good job on your line work. I can already tell so much better and so much fluid. I really like how you kept your landmarks. The landmarks look really nice. I like that you're keeping the proportions. You're keeping your proportions, the distance between them. That's pretty good. Yeah. Your proportions are pretty good. Even like a hi, Godslayer, welcome. So that's pretty good. So your proportions are doing really good too. So let's see. You said you were a little bit frustrated with the face of the dog. So I will break it down to basic shape. Same thing we did last week with the animals. I will say this is one, and this is like another one. And again, from like maybe the eyes, shoot here. Maybe another one shoots from there. That's a way to do it. Maybe divide it in the middle. You can shoot another one here. So that can be a basic way of shape of seeing them. That's a way to go about it. I will say if you want to give it another shot, if you want to give it another try or break it down that way. Another thing I will recommend too is if maybe start seeing these guys or the body, like start seeing them like those type of shapes. If you know what I mean. Yeah, and like trying to keep like example like the middle, and these type of things help. You know? That way you can keep the eyes the same. Or I can see though, I can tell you that I can see why it will be, the distortion will be confusing. I can see why you feel that this snout is so pushed in this direction compared to the eyes, because it's giving that illusion. I can see why, because this is a box that's doing this. Do you know what I mean? I can see why it's giving you that. It's giving you that feeling that is being pushed in that direction, because it is. It is. It's just that because it's a 3D shape, and then but it's being flattened, and then on top of that you have all the markings of the dog. So the fur and the markings of the dog is distorting. It's like this distorting the shape itself. So sometimes it's a little bit tricky. So sometimes it's like you have to get past seeing or understanding what's anatomy and what is markings of the fur type, if that makes any sense. I try to use fluffy fur as landmark, but using it. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like example, these little white guys here, or this is like, is that markings of fur markings, or that's actually anatomy and shape? So that gets a little bit tricky, I admit. But yeah, I will say if you want, like trying to maybe zoom in or find a similar dog, if you want to give it another shot, I will do that to analyze the face and like fix this little guy. But I think you're progressing. I can already tell your line work is progressing, and your shapes are progressing. And keep working on your proportions and scaling. Those are looking good. You're keeping that consistent. Good job. So the next one will be Mossy Rock, and I know Mossy Rock is not here, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I'm sure Mossy Rock is gonna see it later. Mossy Rock, whenever you see this later, good job. Your scaling and proportions are pretty good, especially when I see the lines that you're using. The guys and landmarks are very nice. I also like seeing how you broke down the mesh and 3D-ness of the goose. Very nice. Yeah, I'm trying to break it down. It looks really nice. Even how you broke down the face of the dog, even the little droopiness here, it looks really nice. Good job on the proportions. I think you nailed those down. You got those Perfect. Straight on. I like how you're even trying to go behind them and see where the dog is. Like you were thinking beyond that. I don't know if it's possible, but I'll just upload mine here. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll grab it, Ghost Slayer. And I remember, Monster Rock, you said you were having a hard time with the feathers. A trick with the feathers is, I was gonna make a class for that later since you talked about it. I don't know what specific part you were having a hard time with the feathers, but the easiest way for feathers, in my opinion, because I don't know exactly which part you were have a hard time with this, is specifically or like in general. The easiest way for feathers is to do this exact same mesh that you're having here, and then you just break them. You have to see which light or which direction the lighting is, so you know which side of the edge. So if this is the feather, it's like you want to show this edge or you want to show that edge where like the shadow of it is. So usually you show where the shadow is. So if the lighting is in this direction, you usually show that shadow. So then you get, you know, the next, and then you get the next, and then you start building feathers that way. But if it's in this direction, then, you know, you put the feathers, shadows in that way. So usually you make them in clumps. You just pick certain little areas in clumps. So it's not like you do the typical, like you do all of them forever. Unless you're like those crazy black and white chickens that I'm sure you guys seen, that is just crazy how they have individual ones black and white forever, black and white feathers. So usually I will recommend that you just pick a couple. And because feathers are this shape, depends of them, sometimes they're more like squarey or more oval, then you have to follow the rules of perspective. So if they're in front of you, you know, they are like this. And when they get far away from you, they get skinny. So in other words, they start like this and they get skinny. So that's how feathers work. So you gotta make sure, so the best way to do feathers is to do the exact same mesh you did here. And so I like to, and then make a couple of skinny ones. Like skinny here. That's usually how I do feathers. And then you pick a spot, and then usually like I make them in clumps. So maybe pick a clump around here, a couple here, make another clump here, maybe here, but don't do like a siren tail, if that makes any sense. And same here. So if the lighting is coming from here and you know this is the direction, you have to follow the direction that the feathers grow. So you know this is the direction these feathers grow. That's the direction these feathers grow. That's the direction they grow. That's the direction they grow. And depending on the direction they grow, then you gotta do the shadow in that direction. So that will be like that. So I hope that works. So if you were to look at this guy right here. Oh yeah, and I forgot about that. Different sizes. So usually around the head and neck, they're tiny. Around the chest, they get bigger. The wings they're pretty big. They go from small to bigger, and the tail is usually when they're the flattest and fattest. And when I meant about clumping, this is kind of what I mean. Like this is like a clump here. That's another little clump. There's another one here. That's one here. You see these ones here. The one there. So it's like you give the hint of them, and then the brain fills the rest of the information. And that's one of the things too, when you're doing some drawings. Sometimes you don't have to draw and render everything. Just give it like the little insinuation or hint, and the brain does the rest. The brain like fills the gaps. If and he just does it for you. Also, everything I told you about feathers, it also applies to fur. So here's, the fur is going in this direction. It's going in that direction, going in that direction, that direction, this direction, that direction, this direction, up, up, there. Yeah, it all applies the same with fur. So I hope that helps, Monster Rock. Now I am with Anathay. I don't know how to say her name. I think this is precious. I can even. Your proportions are on point. Your stylization is on point. I love this so much. I have nothing to say except at this point we'll be nitpicking. I want to oil paint this. Send me a DM or I'll send you one. Let me do it. At this point, again, it's just nitpicking. And it will be things like, again, it's just stupid ass nitpicking. I know Morgan is going to laugh when she hears me saying this. But it's just stuff like this for me. It's the tangent. It's the tangent of this. That the ear going down and being the same line of the chin. And the tangent spotting queen. For you guys that don't know, I hate tangents. And God forbid if I find one of mine that I did not see and missed it. It's like, no, how did I not see that one? Yeah, so I will say this will be my nitpicking point right here. And it is because I want to see the different, I want to see and really understand that the chin and the head of the deer, it's really on top and forward of the head of the cat. And right now, that tangent of the ear being the same line of the chin, this is reading a little bit weird. How will I fix it? I will say maybe the ear ends here. Then deers have this little bone. They have like the little bone there. It's like a weird little bone they have. Well, it's not weird. You just call it weird because it just pokes out. And I will push the mandible down about there. And they always have like a little lip. I will fix it kind of like that. Hi, Wagyu. No, we have daylight savings. We forgot that we have daylight savings. We gain an hour or something like that. And we forgot that the Discord didn't do it automatically. Or some countries have it, or others don't. I don't know. So going back to this. So yeah, this is kind of how I will fix. So it looks like, and then I will push maybe the little ear that way. I know most people weren't. That's what I realized we have such a low attendance. It's we didn't know the time change really messed it up. So yeah, I feel like that's how I will fix it. So it will really feel like the jaw is in front of that. But this is ridiculously cute. Also, maybe I'll fix that a little bit there. Adorable. Adorable. I also even like even though this is really cute, this is just me. I also like the idea of it having detail here. And they're like curling up together. I think that's really cute too. I love yours, don't take me wrong. I love it. Trying to say too, how will it be if he was like he was hugging it like a little nest. And then that gives me like a I was just thinking if that can that give me like a composition of it goes back to the face. Just a different type of comp. Just an idea. But yours is not bad though. Cause like yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good. This is really cute. This is super cute. Okay. So we have a couple more people that yeah, I want to oil paint this so bad. A dragon curling up to the tail, yes. Okay, we have a couple more people that dropped the homework. Let's see what we got. Oh, Gold Slayer, you picked that one. This is so cute. Stop. You guys, look how cute this is. You always going the extra mile analyzing the drawing in every direction. I love that you do that. Like from every angle. I can't. I love your drawing stuff like as is. Like I feel like your stuff is really pretty as like printed as is and framed. I think it's really pretty. I cannot with the little baby goat. It needs a name. I'm gonna call it Jeremy. No, or Buttercup. Can't stand it. I have cute aggression, so. All right, let's see what Godslayer sent us here. All right. Alia just finishing either class. Don't apologize, man. This is amazing. This is great. Well, I think for being Sonic mode and the time restraints that you gave yourself, this came out great. This came out really good. I gotta pull up the photo of the original so I can homework. Where is it? Here we go. I love the stylization you gave it already. Okay, since I'm seeing it for the first time, give me a second. This is really cute. The first thing that I have to point out that I think you did pretty nicely and very successfully, Godslayer, I will say, is this 3D-ness of the snout. The way that you were able to make the flop the flop of the lips on top of that jaw, like that folding within that boxiness, I think that came out very nice. I think that came out very beautifully. And even the flatness that they have in between the eyes and the forehead, and yeah, all of that came out very, very lovely. Great job. I like the stylization of it. I like the solidness of it. Yes, pero dile difficult. Oh, I can see that. Yeah. Is it why? What do you think that is? Is it because of the wrinkles or the anatomy of the cat in general? Because it's more curvy. Yeah, this is really really precious. These are two breakdown, I think. Gotcha. Yeah, this came out really nice. This is hilarious. The first thing that points out to me proportion wise will be this one. No, that's pretty. That's almost spot on. Yeah, it's just like his paw is above his little paw, and yours is below his. Again, I'm nitpicking here. This is great. I'm just nitpicking stuff here. Again, it's stylization stuff. This is nitpicking at this point. I also like how you did his face, how you broke it down. It's like a lot. A lot is going on, so I'm having a little hard time picking things out. I also see how you attempt, like you're trying to break down and like see all of his muscles and everything. That's really cool. Yeah, I love his eyes. I love how you did his eyes. I feel like that's your most successful thing here. I think it's the way you break down his eyes, his nose and snout. I think that's your most successful thing here. Yeah, that's beautiful. If I will have to say anything for you to work more on, I will say will be more on your gesture drawings. Yeah, I will say focus more on your gesture drawings since you already have this structure down, which is interesting because you have it on here. Because it's interesting because you have it on, you have it more on this and not on the actual drawing. Like the gesture drawing is on, oh, it's not yours? Who's that? Oh, I thought I saw it. Let me go back. Homework, Andrea. Oh, sorry, I grabbed it right underneath it. My bad. My apologies, you guys. I got messed up with my layers. Okay, here we go. So yes, I will say, let me turn that off. So this is not you. Okay. I'm back on track. Okay. I will say my advice for you will be to start focusing more on gesture drawings because you have the structure down. Your structure down is solid. Like the volume is there, the structure's there, the volume's there, the anatomy is there, the edges are there. Yeah, like all that is there. Composition's there. So I will start working, yeah, on your gesture drawings and for the mobility and the fluidity. Because like example, like he has that like going like leaning back. And yeah, yours is like pretty like boom. Like he's just like standing. While this guy is more like like he's more like yeah, yours is more stiff. Yeah, like he's just like sitting there, like the 1,000-yard stare, like contemplating the abyss. You know what I mean? And this guy has more like a body language of like, I'm not so sure about that. Like he's just like leaning back a little bit. So I will just focus more like also on like that, those little subtle gesture drawings. Even like you see the paw has a little, yours is more stiff. The paw has that, yours is more stiff. Yeah, it's like almost everything, your stuff is more stiff. Is more like more organic. So once you start doing more gesture stuff is what's gonna give your animals more organic. They're gonna give them that more alive personality and that organic feel. And so, like example, the little goat. Oh, hi, Marina. How does this work? Um, I'll tell you in 5 seconds. Let me finish telling him about the little goat and I'll tell you how does this work. All right. But welcome to my class. So about the little goat is God Slayer. So example, like yours, look how stiff is. Think about it. Think about it kind of like what is that called? Like a word, not WordPress. Like a what is it called? Like an ironing board. Like he's just like stiff. But then this little guy, he has this like he little butt up, like prickled up. You know what I mean? And like his little butt up, and like it's like whoop, and it's like boop, and like, do you see what I mean? So you go from that to that, and like, choop. So I will say start working on your gesture drawings. That's what I will focus on to start going to your next level cosplayer. I think that's your next level Pokemon evolution for you. That's your next Pokevolution for you for sure. Your gesture drawings to bring these babies organic alive even more. Because everything else you got it there, buddy. This is great. Good job. This is beautiful. All right, Marino, how does this work? Welcome to my class. I call it Beyond Stick Figures because we draw more than stick figures for everybody that's like, oh, I can only draw a stick figure. Well, here you're going to learn how to do more than that. Every Tuesday, I do a 1 hour art class, free class, where I teach art fundamentals. And then by the end of the class, I usually give people an assignment based on what we learned that day or from previous classes, like a rollover usually. And you're just welcome to jump in. And if you want, you can do the assignment and turn it in on by the next Tuesday. And I do a review and I give a critique to your homework. And I review your homework like I'm doing right now with the other classmates and students on their homework. And yeah, so usually most of the class I do a critique, trying to get through all of them, and then I try to do, if I have time, to do a demo or teach something new by the end of the class. And yeah, I think that's about it. If I'm missing anything, you guys are welcome to plug it in on the chat. Okay, now we're getting to Wagyu. All right, Wagyu. This is precious. I can't even, guys, look at his stupid little face. I can punch it. I can't even right now. It's so cute. Sorry, it's just cute. I crashed. It's just so cute. When I was picking those photos for you guys, I was just like over the moon. Okay, let's see. I love the gesture. Again, I love the balancing. You have the little booty prickling up over there. This is beautiful. I love the lighting. I love that you already post the sunshine there. That's really nice. Oh no! Let's see. What can I nitpick you on? Because this is very nice. I feel like I can only pick you on anything. If anything, it would be... You feel like you improvised a lot in your muscles? Yeah. Yeah, also from the last weeks, I can see that. I like that a lot. I really like how you made chunky. Those legs are so chunky. I will say about this time, nitpicking stuff really. It's just stuff like, I don't know, the distance between the ear and that. This is the distance between you and that. But again, that's just so silly to point out because this is so pretty. No, this is... No, again, most of your stuff is pretty spot on. It's pretty close. Yeah, it's all pretty good. If any, again, it's like it comes to be like stylization versus copying photorealism. Because I love how you stylized or how you drew the dog's face. If anything, it's like the angle of them is like this, and yours is more straight. Boxers are known for having that mega underbite and the nose in, like they have that, and yours is just straight. So again, that's just nitpicking. It looks more like a mastiff than a boxer, but again, this is just very lovely. I just say keep it up, man. Like keep it up and keep doing what you're doing because this looks very nice. And like I will say, just focus on the angles. I will say that angles, and I guess clean up edges. Maybe where you wanna start focusing on edges, is that something you wanna do? Like maybe where you want focus, make the edges very sharp. And then when it goes fade or far away, then keep them fuzzy. If that's something you wanna do. But yeah, I think that's a wrap up for critiques today. If I missed anybody, let me know. So we have about 15 minutes. And I'm gonna try to do a quick. I'm gonna try to do a little quick introduction to lighting for the peeps that have never seen an introduction to lighting before. For you folks that already know the basics of lighting, awesome, just a refresher. And for the people that are new, well, this is your intro to lighting 101. So these are the terminologies that you're always going to hear us talking from now on. When we're talking about shading or lighting or highlights, or when we're talking about rendering or coloring, you're always going to hear this terminology. So if they're new to you, remember them because you're going to hear them a lot. Also, there's other synonyms that different people call them differently. So when you have the hottest part, like the brightest part of an item, of like an object, the hottest part, like the brightest part of the highlight, we usually call that the hot spot. So within the highlight, this is the highlight, or this is just the highlight area. This is the highlight, but the brightest point we usually call the hot spot. Then we got the halftone or midtone. So again, synonyms, different people call it differently. And that's like the overall basic major color, or like the overall dominant middle color. Think of it like 50% gray. Then you have the core, which is this guy here, or they also call it the terminator, which is usually where is the darkest part of the object, the shadow, when it goes from the midtone to the reflective light, which they also call it the bounce light. So what is the reflective light or bounce light? So that happens because, let's say, by the way, this is spotlights here is because the sun is around here. Well, it's actually up here, but I cannot draw it up there. So let's say here's the sun. So that's where the sun is coming from. So this is the whole direction, that the sun is coming in. So what happens is when the sun or the light in general hits the surface, it bounces back. So it bounces back. So when it bounces back, it lights up the object from the bottom. And that's called reflective light or bounce light. And that's why you see in photography when they're in front of the model or the props or whatever, and you have those guys or props using those big white screens, like holding it, moving it and stuff. Or that's because they're trying to bounce the light and illuminate it from the bottom. And then you have the cast shadow. And that's the shadow that happens from, the, I just went blank. The shadow that casts from the object, from this type of light. We're going to go into different shadows in another class. We're just sticking with the basic one right now. There is another type of shadow we're just going to touch really quick. Is when it gets really dark right here, and we call that contact shadow. It's the darkest part of the shadow, and it's when it touches the actual objects, when they touch each other. But again, we're going to go into shadows in a different class. We're just going to stick with the classic good old cast shadow. So let's say if we were to make a pretty fast one, let's say we get our midtone or halftone. Then that's our general shadow. That's our core or terminator. This is our highlight area. More highlight area. And that's the hotspot highlight. And this already has the cast shadow. I mean, the bounce, the reflected light or bounce light, but if you want, you could add an extra one. There is an extra type of light that is not here, which is actually my favorite one, is rim light. And that is when you have a light behind the subject, and you see it a lot, like you see it on like all the Marvel movies and sci-fi stuff and all that. And it's when you get that edge, bright edge light. That's rim light. So in future class, when we start, the terminator is this guy. This is the terminator. Yeah, the terminator is the core. Think about it. If a way to think about it to associate it is like Terminator, I am dark. It's like I'm the grunge. I add darkness to things. I'm the contrast. That's the way I think about it. So certain things to keep in mind. Certain general tricks to keep in mind is This again, this is not universal. I mean, everything. There's exceptions to everything, obviously, but this is like in general, especially when you're doing like basic stuff. In general, you see the textures or the interesting things happening right before the midtones going to the core. What I mean by that is holes, crates, scratches, textures, things like that. Usually you're going to see them rendered or happening right here. So when you're rendering in whatever surface you're doing or character you're doing, and you have to choose where to put the texture, put in there. Second, in general, the reflective light, the bounce light. Oh, my poor cat is coughing really bad. I'm sorry. I'm just worried about him. Usually the reflective light or bounce light is never brighter than the halftone or the highlight. That's something to usually keep in mind, because the bounce reflective light is usually never as strong as getting hit directly with this light source. It's always softer. Again, there's exceptions to everything. There's fantasy, there's a bunch of stuff. But this is like general rule. So again, it's like learn the basic rules before you break them type of thing. Another one will be when you are painting colors, when you're usually actually working with colors, usually right before the terminator, the core light, right before the terminator or the core, here is where the most saturation color happens. When the chroma of whatever the midtone is, this is where you pump the chroma and turns to the core. It's when it's when it gets delicious in the paintings. That's when you start seeing somebody knows actually how to paint and do color and understands lighting. That's when that happens. I can show some examples of that later. But usually that's when you see that happening. So in other words, this part here is pretty important. Like a lot of things happen there. That's usually where textures are shown. That's where color changes. That's where color happens. Also, the core or the terminator is what brings things 3D, really. Is what makes things like gives in the volume. And you can see it happening here. If you were to take away the core here, you will see that most of the 3D-ness went away. It becomes flat. It just becomes a drawing, like a line drawing. Same here. It just take the core and just becomes like a high key light drawing, a line drawing. Same here, like look, take away the core, and what do we have? A line drawing. So that's what's so important about the transitioning from the midtone or placing the core or the terminator correctly, because that's gonna show you the shape and the volume. Another and last thing I'm gonna say, and we have a wrap up and we are open to Q&A or something, is for rim light, which we're gonna go into that later, is not a white border. That's how you make shitty rim light. The people go are like, oh, let's just do a white border on things. No, you actually have to figure out the source light, and it has to follow the shape of it, like actually how it works. Like you have to figure it out where the light is coming from, and figure out the source or whatever, and do the correct way of do the rim. I'm just making up right now what I think this rim will be. But the people that just like come in and just straight up just do like, just outline it like this, that's a no-no. But we'll teach you how to do that in another class. So, oh, Anathay, you're here. I already went through yours, but you can see it on the YouTube channel when we upload the video. I just want to say I loved yours so much, and I want to do an oil painting of it. Okay, so this is the basic for lighting, you guys. For the people that are new, I recommend, you see how fast I did this? I recommend you guys do the same. I recommend you guys do the same, so at least you understand. No, you're not an hour later. Remember that we have the time change, so that messed everybody up. We have the gain an hour, lose an hour time, daylight savings. Same for you, Mossy Rock. I went through yours too. So for everybody, we'll go ahead and upload the video pretty soon. I think Dustin, I'm not sure if we can upload it tonight. I'll upload it immediately. I'll send Dustin the video immediately right after class. That way we can, you guys can have it immediately and see your critique. But yeah, I feel really bad, you guys. Yeah, daylight savings messed everybody up with the time. But well, okay, well, it's 9 o'clock, and it's time for me to go. Do you guys have any questions about lighting certain stuff? I am gonna put for homework for lighting. I'm going to put something similar to this, but not as advanced, of course. I want to do something similar to this, and you guys will break down very basic where you see these things. You know what I mean? Like you're going to paint and draw where you see the core, where you see the halftone, where you see the light, where you see the core. So you're going to do the drawing like we did in the previous classes, and then you're going to do the blocking in of the lighting, like the basic lighting I explained today. And I'm going to put the assignment for class tonight. And for everybody that's new, and if you want to see any of the classes from before, they're all on YouTube. This is class 4, I believe, and all of the other ones are on YouTube. What is the YouTube channel? I think it's Huckleberry, correct, Dustin? I think you can just go to the, on the side of the server, it should be there. We just try to shade the basics. Yes. Yeah. Like I want to see kind of like very basic this of the items, that the statues. I'm probably going to put statues. I still have to grab them. I'm going to put the statues, and you just have to like break them down, blocking in the lighting. And it can also be as simple as this too. I just want to be able to see where the terminator is, where the bounce light is, the meter, and the highlights. And it can be digital or traditionally. It's up to you guys. If you do it traditionally, I recommend, if you guys can, do a halftone paper. That way it's already halftone. You have to just do the highlights and the shadows. And if you do it digitally, just paint the whole canvas gray, you know, like this, you know, just painted gray. That way you just have to add the terminator and the highlights. Let me see, where is, or like this. That way all you have to do is add the highlights. Just that way it's very easy to hide the highlights. You don't have to worry about the midtones. And then add the terminators. If that makes any sense. Yep. Okay, you guys. Well, that's a wrap up for tonight. Thank you so much for signing up. And signing up for coming over again. And I'll go ahead and put the homework ready for tonight. And I'll see you all next week again. And if you have any questions, I can stay over for another like 3-5 minutes. If you have any questions, I'll pop them over. Pop them over and I can answer them. And if not, I'll see you next week. Yeah, question. Go ahead, Ghostlayer. Yes. Your drawing has shadow. No, that's what you. Yes. Here you go. You can start like that. And add the other. Yes, you can. Because right now here you have the major highlight, you have the midtone. Yes. So all you have to add now is the terminator, the bounce light or reflective light, the terminator, and give me the hot highlights. Yes. That works. Is pan around here? No. Okie dokie. Well, if that's it, I'm gone then. All right, you guys. Have a good night. See you all next week.